Hi there, it's Gianni Ortiz with Indivisible CD19 New York. I'm here with Cheryl Roberts, leader in progressive thought and action for her entire career, and she just formally
withdrew my nomination for the Supreme Court.
You had a lot of support in that room.
I did, and I was so grateful, overwhelmed, not expecting it all. So it was very much appreciated. What happened is I didn't have the delegate votes. The process is very controlled by, at least the way it works now, by committee chairman. And the delegates were pledged for other people. And despite the fact that had there been a primary, if this were a different kind of race, I think I would have won. That's not the way Supreme Court justices are elected. And so when it became clear to me that I did not have the votes, I decided to withdraw my nomination. I was grateful that Linda Mussman and Dorothy Heil nominated me and gave me the chance to make a statement and for people to hear what they had to say and how they felt. And so at this point, I will stand down, and I wish the ticket the best of luck. And I am committed to running for this race again, and hope to do that when the next available seat comes up, which apparently is in 2024. There are seats up before that, but there was no appetite, I guess, to relinquish those seats.
Let me ask you, by way of clarification, it is by agreement, and you know more about this than I do, in 2009, that there was a rotation, right? Correct? And my understanding is the 2024 race, it's Ulster County that gets that seat.
No, it would be Albany. In 2024, it's 2 seats in Albany.
Okay, and my understanding is that they've given you some sort of verbal agreement?
You know, I would say that I am committed to running, and they committed to supporting me. So I don't like the word agreement. I think at this point, from now on, we have to do things differently, not by necessarily agreement, but by what the people want. And there are, however, 15 judges in the district, and they are situated in certain counties. And so when that judge's seat comes up, then there should be a conversation about, who's going to run for it. Now, typically, it has been the people of that county to nominate a judge for that seat. Now, Columbia County, unfortunately, doesn't have a seat any longer. It was essentially taken back so that Albany could run three people this year, which is incredibly disappointing. And I think why you saw what you saw in there. I think there's a fundamental feeling of unfairness about that.
Anybody watching this, and obviously we didn't film in the room where all of this took place, she got 2 standing ovations. There was a lot of love in there and a lot of disappointment. But moving along, you have a terrific body of work. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing with the Greenberger Foundation?
Oh, sure. So the Greenberger Center for Social and Criminal Justice is a nonprofit that Francis Greenberger and I started in 2014. And we work at the intersection of mental illness and criminal justice. So we have been trying to develop a first-of-its-kind model in the country to divert people with serious mental illness accused of higher-level felony crimes. Because, everyone knows that they don't get better when they're in prison. They're very expensive these folks are very expensive to incarcerate, and they just get more ill. And so we need to have a different system going forward, and we're trying to provide different options.
One of the victories that you had out of this somewhat disappointing process is that you believe that you're going to be able to impact the way this is actually executed and to modernize. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Why don't you talk about that?
Sure. Well, thanks for the opportunity. I think actually not me so much, but the people that came here and the people that I met during the process. I think I was, in some sense, the messenger. I was the example. It gave people an opportunity to look into this process and for the first time in many cases understand how it works. And they realize they don't like the way it works, and it's not fair, it's not open, it's not transparent, it's not democratic.
It's not representative.
Right. It's not democratic. And so I think the people now, as you saw in there, are not going to stand down. I may have to stand down today. because we're in the middle of this transition. But the next time around, people will not stand down, and I think they will be forcing change on this process, and they will be making sure they understand who are the delegates voting for, who's the nominee, what's this bench look like, what's the gender diversity, on the bench, what's the racial diversity on the bench. Of the 18 judges now, only one is of color. She's a woman, an African-American woman, and that's just not acceptable anymore. It's not acceptable. So I will do what I can do, but it's the people that are going to change this system.